Today on TLC Live, did you know that we have school board elections on May 6? Amy Thieme, candidate for Katy ISD School Board Position 3. Morgan Calhoun for Katy ISD School Board Position 4. And Valeria Nevarez for Ward ISD School Board Trustee on District 3. 3 women, 3 mom, powerful, ready to take over and ready to fix our school system.
Well, and it needs a lot of help.
A lot.
Yeah. So I'm Orlando Sanchez.
Andrea Gomez, welcome to TLC Live. Welcome back. Last week we were not live on the studio, but we were live in Dallas, Texas, when we had our Top Tejano Awards. It was a very successful event, first time in Dallas, Texas. So we were streaming live at 12 at noon when the event started. But in the meantime, before, I was like doing behind the scene and getting ready, everything. So if you missed the show last week or you missed the Top Tejano Awards, just go below on our Facebook page. Is the entire event that was streaming live. I think it was around an hour, so you can see everything, who was receiving the awards, and all your presentation. That it was amazing. Yeah, Orlando, I was very proud of you. You are a pro.
Well, I had to step in because we had some weather. Remember, so a lot of folks that were supposed to show up didn't because they were stuck on airplane tarmacs.
Not only the weather, but let's see. Southwest Airlines again. Happen.
Well, you can't blame weather on Southwest Airlines, but anyway, Andrea's doing a fabulous job putting together a great program today, talking about education and probably the most important positions in America, which are school board trustees. Everybody wants to talk about education, but people don't want to roll up their sleeves and dedicate their time to these, I'm kidding, high-paying positions, but they are important positions, probably the most important in America because it deals with our future, and that's our children. So, good job.
Thank you. But so you have a video?
Well, somebody sent me a video yesterday, and I think it's dated. It's kind of old, but this is a self-loathing Caucasian who thinks by creating more government and more laws, they're going to fix a problem. So I want to share the video with you. I'll make a small editorial comment.
And that was on social media, I believe.
Well, somebody texted it to me. Yeah, I guess it's on Instagram, but it was actually, I think, a real show. I don't know. Let's all watch it together, and then I'll give you my input, and then you guys either can call in, or you can text us, or you can go on Facebook and make your comments, and Andrea will read them. But you ready?
Another high school shooting yesterday, this one in Florida. 17 dead, the last report I saw. And everybody sends their thoughts and prayers again because that works so well. This is the 18th high school shooting in America this year, and we have 10 and a half months to go. We've had 290 since 2013. We average about one a week, but there's just nothing we can do. If it was a Muslim or a Mexican doing the shooting, how many new laws and how much money would we spend then to stop the madness? But since it's almost always a white kid, there's just nothing we can do. America has 5% of the world's population and yet 31% of the world's mass shootings. We're worried about people coming to this country. They should be worried about us going to theirs. Australia had 4 mass shootings between 87 and 96. They passed stricter gun laws and haven't had a single mass shooting since. And here I thought, guns don't kill, people do. Is this the people we are? Last time I said we need to find a way to stop a nut with a gun, and that's all I said. I get an email saying, I'm saving my last bullet to put it right between your eyes. Just another responsible gun owner in America, and I'm taking all bets he's a white guy. So there's just nothing we can do.
And there you have a self-loathing white Caucasian. Look, we all lament this. But to cherry pick and to go to Australia that has a monolithic ethnic group, instead he could have gone to Mexico and used that as an example where guns are illegal. If you get caught with a gun, you go to prison forever in Mexico, yet Mexico has the highest homicide rate. Or he could have picked Chicago, which guns are outlawed in Chicago, and they have one of the highest homicide rates.
But I agree on something. Like you said, it's not arms, it's the people.
And then he fails to articulate that almost every state in America has passed what's called gun-free school zones. That is, it's a felony to carry a gun in or around a school. So if you're driving around a school and you've got a gun and the police catch you, it's supposed to be a felony. Also, mass shootings in America are not carried out only by white guys, as he calls it out. The Asian man that shot everybody in California a couple of months ago. We've had an African American who took a high-powered rifle and shot police officers in Dallas, Texas. And so this guy wants to do exactly what the liberal left does: divide us. Divide us and make us hate each other. We're all in this together. It was deplorable when a white man did go into an African American church, I think in South Carolina, and shoot the parishioners. Everybody laments that. That behavior shouldn't be allowed. But we do have laws in this country. Passing more laws is not going to cure, and this is what your comment was, a sick society. We have a sick society. It's not the guns. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When I was growing up and going to school in the 70s, many of the boys in my neighborhood had pickup trucks. We had gun racks. We carried shotguns. We carried 30 rifles. No one was shot in schools. It's not the guns. It's a sick society. And if you want to try to use laws to limit the shootings, then enforce the laws. Here in this county, how many times does the district attorney enforce the gun laws? When your car is broken into and they steal your gun, they put you out on a free personal recognizance bond, put you out in the street so you can go steal another gun. These people sell them in the black market. A felon cannot be in possession of a firearm, yet we don't prosecute them. So you want to stop gun violence? Start enforcing the laws. Build more prison capacity, and people that are committing crimes with gun go to prison. That will help. But we don't enforce the laws we have. So this gentleman believes that we need to pass more laws and strip away the law-abiding citizen's right to carry arms. He's out of touch. It's typical liberal garbage, and that's my comment.
Yeah. So, well, talking about schools,
Yes.
because this has been happening in schools, unfortunately, more than any other place. So we have today 3 candidates for school board. So we wanna have the 3 of them, and I don't know if they wanna make a comment about that, but we wanna get to know them.
Let's not throw them into the fire right away.
No, not about this in a specific, but about the mass shooting on the schools and the security on the schools.
I think Amy is a Leadership Latino graduate.
Yes.
All right.
Great. So it's today we have Amy, and we have also I'm gonna go again, Morgan, and we have Valerie. So we want to welcome, ladies. First of all, congratulations of desiring to run for this position, because I know you guys are not only busy at home but profession and with kids, and you have a lot of things in your plate, but also you want to serve your community, and that's why we want to get to know you guys today about your platform, your campaign, but also why you decide to run for this position. And we're going to start today with Amy. Amy, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So, Amy, tell us about yourself, your background, and why you decide to run for this position.
Well, it's very much related to what y'all were just talking about. I'm a Katy ISD graduate. My family moved to Katy for the schools when I was in the 2nd grade. I graduated from Taylor High School in Katy ISD. I attended college, and I majored in mathematics and history, and I got my teaching certificate on the side. I came back to Katy, and I taught math at 2 junior highs and at 2 high schools within our district. And one thing that I'm passionate about is if we teach our students the foundations, the core curriculum of math, writing, science, reading, and history, then we are setting them up for success. And I saw that in my classroom at Katy High School, my last year of teaching there. I had students who had never passed math before, and a lot of them didn't even know that 1 times a number was itself. And I had to take them from that point until to at the end of the year, passing the end of year exam in order to get credit for Algebra 1. So we didn't just work on the core curriculum. We worked on, hey, I was a cheerleader for them. We worked on self-esteem. We worked on me telling them they could do this. I believed in them. And do you know, by the end of the year, I worked closely with two other teachers that we team taught with, and Katy ISD was great about giving me the resources that I needed. And I had the highest passage rate of students on that end of year exam in the entire district. And so, I agree, we live in a society that we are seeing an increase in school shootings, but one way that I can contribute to that is being a positive voice for the youth and for our students, and valuing education to the point where they believe they can do it.
Okay.
So,
Excellent.
so Amy, I wanted you explain to us. I mean, you're a mom. You're being, doing the first educator job that we have is as a moms before we send our kids to school. So tell me I didn't graduate in this country. I didn't want to school in this country. So tell me your own experience going to school in this country, and now what you're seeing in the education system, in the school and the school district, and Katy, that you're leaving and you went to school. What has been happening between that time and now, that now you want to be part of this and help not only your own kids, but other kids?
Oh, that's a great question. So when I came to Katy ISD, I was in the second grade and I could not read. I struggled in kindergarten to read. I struggled in first grade to read, and my parents moved from Sharpstown to Katy so that just for the schools, and they saw that I was struggling. And it wasn't that I had a learning disability. It's just I was young for my age, and I just wanted to be home. I didn't want to be in school. But when I came to Katy ISD, the teachers invested in me. I had a smaller classroom. I had teachers that took the time to get to know me. I mean, I remember my fourth grade teacher, Mrs. Love. I remember my Texas history teacher, Mrs. Eschenhauer. I remember most of my high school teachers, and they just poured, they didn't just challenge me, but they were the ones that said, hey, Amy, you're actually good at math. You think mathematically. I want you to start taking more challenging courses. And I'm sure that my parents were saying the same thing, but I didn't, I needed to hear it from someone other than my parents. So that small town feel of Katy ISD is what helped me succeed. And then as a teacher, I was invested in. I was allowed to see my students that struggled twice a day rather than once. That's a huge investment that Katy ISD made. And then I also was given a lot of training outside of the school year that helped set me up for success. And I just want to see the school district do more of that. When I look at what has happened over just starting with Harvey and then going through COVID, I see that there's a disconnect between the administration and the parents. And because the parents are the first educator, the primary educator, I want to restore that communication and that working relationship between teacher, parent, and the school board administration.
Governor Abbott was in town yesterday, and he dedicated
Yeah.
a substantial portion of his luncheon speech to education. He's talking about the amount of investment that the state, as we all know, we have a $35 billion surplus, so there will be teacher raises, there will be more money coming to schools, and there probably will be school choice. What the legislature wants to do is create a system of competition, and he highlighted a state on the East Coast, Florida, where 20 years ago they had a pretty deplorable accomplishment rate of students in Florida. And when they instituted choice, gave parents the power to choose what schools their children were going to go to, the quality of education increased in the state of Florida. Unlike a lot of these organizations, and mostly labor unions and associations, I got to remind people that we are in a legislative session in Austin, Texas. And so if you've never been there, it's quite amazing. There are thousands of lobbyists in Austin lobbying for special interests. They're lobbying for better economic incentives to build plants in Texas. They're lobbying for gambling in the state of Texas. They're lobbying for school choice. They're lobbying for more money for mental health. Everybody has a special interest. And huge special interests, of course, are the Superintendents Association and the teacher unions. Both have had some tremendous influence in especially urban school districts. Now, there's a big divide in Texas between urban school districts and rural school districts. Most rural school districts are doing well. I remind people all the time because I pay school taxes in three school districts in Texas. I pay into Houston Independent School District. I pay into the Freestone County Independent School District, which is located between Houston and Dallas, and I pay into the Brackett Independent School District, which is in Kinney County, which is a border town. Those border towns, those small communities, they're doing well. The students are performing. Everybody loves their teachers, their superintendent. Kids are graduating from school. They don't have the problems that urban school districts have. And a lot of times in Austin, when they introduce legislation to try to fix some of the urban problems, like example in Houston, they go, no, that would not apply to us. We don't like that. And so what happens is that a lot of the legislators, the state representatives and senators from rural Texas, don't support issues that will help urban school districts. And so nothing really gets done. This year, apparently, we're going to have school choice, which I think brings in an atmosphere of competition among the schools, which will improve the schools, Andrea. There's no doubt about it. And so the governor dedicated a substantial portion of his speech yesterday to talking about the importance of educating our students, because that's the future, the economic future of the state of Texas. We have all these corporations that are moving. You know, Elon Musk built a massive operation for Tesla outside of Austin. We have a lot of the as Professor Kleinberg said on our program, the 21st century economy is a knowledge-based economy. If you don't graduate from school, if you don't have the knowledge necessary to participate in the 21st century economy, you're going to be in bad shape. So our job is to educate these kids. The state is dedicating resources. And so, you know, it's, again, I go back to these school trustees are the most important positions in America because they have the future of America in their hands. Their policies are going to decide how well we do.
Absolutely. Amy, stay with us, but I want our two other guests to answer the same question before they introduce themselves and talk about their platform, Morgan Calhoun and Valeria Nevarez. Let's start with you, Morgan. Answer the same question.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes. So the question it was, back in your time when you went to school, middle school, elementary school, and high school, back in the time, and now that you are a mother and raising kids, what did you see the difference between the time that you went to school and now that your kids are attending a school, that now you want to be part of the system and trying to fix things that you think it's not working?
So when I grew up in Katy as well, and I graduated from Katy High School in 2005. My husband graduated as well from Katy. So Katy back then was a small town, and it was a rice farming community. We were more well known for our duck hunting and our goose hunting than really anything else, and our great football teams. So when we grew up here, the education was at the forefront of what parents were coming to. They were running towards Katy because of our small town values. And I think what we've seen is that as we've had a cultural shift in the country, our school districts, sometimes because we're a pretty large school district, we're increasing towards 100,000 students and growing, as most of Texas is, from people flooding into Texas because of our low tax rates, as well as a number of other things. What we're seeing is that we're having to battle the culture that is coming into our schools. And I think that we're seeing the shift. We're seeing these things creep up in the classrooms. We're seeing a a little bit less parental engagement, and you have to have a strong school board in order to incentivize parents to remain engaged in their children's education, as well as incentivizing kids to make the right choices when they're in the classrooms. And we have to refocus what we think is important as Texans. And as a conservative state, it's not going to be the same as New York or California or Oregon. We hold a special place in the country for what we value as Texans. And we're seeing that we are going to have people who are willing to stand up to stand for those values here in Texas. And we're seeing that that is becoming more necessary by the day here in Texas. And I've just seen that shift and that change from when I was in school to now. So that's what I'm seeing just on that forefront. It's not that our teachers are these woke liberal teachers. You may have one out of like 100, but our teachers are there to educate and to love on our kids. That's why they went into the profession. They just need people that are willing to support them inside and outside of the classrooms. And that's what I want to do being on the board, is being able to deliver curriculum and policy that can help support what they're actually trying to do and give our kids the education that they deserve.
Definitely. So that's part of why the reason that you're running for this position. So now
Yes.
tell us about your background and what have you been doing and what are you going to bring to the table as a board member in case that you win on May 6th?
No, when she
So-
wins Mason.
When she wins
Yes.
on May 6th.
So I grew up here in Katy, like I said. We moved here in 1998, and I started going to junior high school here, and then I graduated from high school here. I met my husband shortly after I graduated high school, and we got married not long after that. He was in the military. He served for quite a while, did 3 combat tours. And at the last of that last combat tour, we were having to make decisions about where we were going to raise our family, because I was pregnant in his last combat tour. And so we were deciding where we were going to live and what we were going to do. And we know Katy, and we know our roots are here, and we know the legacy that Katy has, and we're part of that legacy. And so we wanted to start our family here and grow our roots here. So we did. And we have loved what we have here. And part of the reason that I wanted to run for the school board is because I, as a parent, that I now have 3 children that are within the Katy ISD school district. And as a parent, when I started noticing more issues that I was hoping were just not being represented in the classroom, not in Texas, not in Katy. And I started seeing some of that crop up, and I became vocal and started going to school board meetings and speaking with our principals and our teachers and reaching out and trying to make a difference where I could. And it just didn't feel like that I was able to move that needle in the way that it needed to be. So the opportunity presented itself for me to run, and I took it. And I'm planning on introducing a parental voice, a parent's voice on the board that is a conservative voice for all of our students. You don't have to be just a conservative in order for me to speak or in order for me to present the best educational opportunities for our children. But that's what I intend to do, is I intend to back those educational opportunities that I know that are out there because I receive them. And so just kind of helping the board to make sure that our focus is on that: reading, writing, math, science, history, love of country. Those are the things that we need to be focusing and preparing our children for as they move out of our foundational education and on to secondary education and life. And that's where we need to be.
Morgan, you mentioned that you saw some things creeping up in the classroom that you weren't pleased with. Can you give us an example of what that was?
When going back to when COVID was hitting, we started noticing a lack of a lack of acknowledgement onto kind of what parental rights actually are. And COVID had good and bad issues that were brought up, right? We had a magnifying glass that was put over what our kids were learning in the school, as well as what rights for you as a parent, what you actually have. And the masking was one of those things that was really concerning. And you could make arguments for and against it in the very beginning. But as we continued to move forward, it was concerning that parental voices were really being ignored. That was one of the very first things that we noticed. And then it continued on from there. We were just concerned about some of the ways that the school districts seem to be leaning in terms of parents' ability to know what was going on with their children behind closed doors. And upon speaking with staff in the district, what I was told I wasn't comfortable with. And I vocalized that at board meetings. I vocalized that to other parents, and this wasn't something that was well known. So those are issues that have to be addressed, of what role a parent plays in personal family decisions and how much accessibility they have to the information that their children are giving to people that are not their parents.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, stay with us also, Morgan. And now we're going to go with Valeria Nevarez, that she is running for Forward ISD School Board Trustee in District 3. Same question, Valeria. By the time that you went to school, the difference that now you see on the school system and in classes with the teachers and the kids and your own kids, that now you want to step in and trying to fix those issues.
Of course. So I'm 22 years old, so I graduated from public education in 2019. So it's only been about 4 or 5 years, and I've seen the tremendous difference where school went from education to truly indoctrination. And I didn't start seeing this till I started going to school board meetings, because obviously our children are influenced a lot by what they see in schools. And so I saw that coming up in a Hispanic household, I'm a first generation American, how I grew up with the values of equality. And going to school board meetings, I saw that it's been moving to a mentality of equity, and with all this diversity, equity, and inclusion, and critical race theory. And I saw how that's actually damaging our students. It's actually hindering their education and their zeal to push forward and go to higher education and learn new skills. And so I've seen that tremendous difference, where it's gone from truly education to indoctrination. And I was not okay with that. I do not have children of my own yet, but I did not let that stop me from being that voice that goes to the board meetings and says, this is not correct. Coming from a minority, a Latina, I am not okay with this. I am not okay with schools telling a brown kid that you expect less from them just because of their ethnicity. And so that just motivated me to kind of just be that voice. Let's challenge the system. And I'll tell you that they did not like a Latina, Mexican woman to go to board meetings and say this, that we are not oppressed, that equity is harmful, and we should all strive for equality, which is the beautiful thing of this country. So that's the biggest difference I've seen since I graduated education in 2019.
You know, it's just fascinating to hear this from a young Hispanic woman who, again, is fighting what the liberals want to do. They want to separate and divide America. We started the show with a guy saying, you know, the white guys are the shooters, a self-loathing Caucasian. And, you know, conservatives of whatever race or ethnicity or sexual orientation, because you can be conservative and still be gay. You know, that's nothing wrong with that.
I have plenty of
gay
friends that they're very conservative.
And we're all in it together.
Yeah.
We're all fighting for the same country.
One thing doesn't have to do with the other one.
We're all trying to educate our children. We all want safe neighborhoods. We all want better roads. But the left is separating everybody. And once they separate them, they step in and say, Now you need government to establish equity and help you. And here you have a young lady, 22 years old, recent graduate from the public school district, says, excuse me, but I don't need Joe Biden and the Department of Education or the State Board of Education telling me what I need to do. I just want the opportunity to succeed.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing to hear that and hear you say that. And given your age, you know, I mean, I wasn't even thinking those things when I was 22.
I didn't even know that she was that young. Okay, Valeria, one question. You just graduated on 2019. When did you see that this shift to the left started on the school? Because I mean, you just recently graduate. When did you see that started in your school or in general with your friends in another schools? And when do you see that start happening here in America?
And before you answer that, you know, I remind people that Fort Worth is in Tarrant County, which used to be a pretty conservative county. So that's an interesting question Andrea asked you: is when did that shift occur? When did the woke society infiltrate the public school system in Fort Worth?
Honestly, I think it kind of just spiraled from COVID. I think COVID was a perfect opportunity to brainwash people. And to be quite honest, I did not care about public education. I was off in college, getting my undergrad in aerospace engineering. So I didn't really care about students, to be honest. Until one time, I was invited to a critical race theory rally. I didn't understand the full concept of it. And this was in 2020. Well, they were trying to push a critical race theory just idea in the Fort Worth ISD. And I was kind of just wondering what's this about. And so I went to the board meeting. I signed up for a public comment. I did not know what I was thinking. And I spoke against it because I figured this is not okay. And just seeing people become so brainwashed from that COVID phase, from being locked down, having nothing to do, and just believing what the government is saying, that transferred over to our public education system. And it made people more vulnerable and more open to believe these radical ideas. And so that is when I started noticing. I started really opening my eyes and getting involved and going to every board meeting that I could. And I realized they're really after Tarrant County. Tarrant County is one of the last major conservative cities in the whole nation. So I can see why people are trying to make Fort Worth education become as liberal, because if our education system has gone super woke and indoctrinating these students are eventually going to vote in Tarrant County, and they might be able to turn the whole county around, and that's what we are trying to stop. And that is exactly why I'm running. I want to keep Fort Worth, I want to keep Tarrant County conservative and a place that my kids can grow up in.
Let me make a comment that what Valeria is talking about is exactly what our poll of 1,200 registered Hispanic voters in the state of Texas, which, by the way, if you guys don't know, we won an award. It's called the Reed Award in Las Vegas 2.5, 3 weeks ago for the poll that we did and the research and the technology we used to research.
And when we say we, it's Texas Latino
Conservatives, which is, frankly, I was unaware that we had won the award. It's sort of like, the Oscars of politics.
Yeah.
And that poll, Valeria and Morgan and Amy, we asked the question of Hispanic Texans, how do they identify themselves to their friends and neighbors? The number one choice was as Americans. The second choice was as Texans. And so what Valeria is talking about is the left doesn't like that. See, they don't want us unified. They cannot stand to see brown kids and black kids and gay kids and Caucasian kids and, Asian kids under one flag with unity. But that is America, and that is what they're fighting against. And this is what we're fighting for. We're all Americans. We all want the same things for our families and for our future and for our grandchildren. And, I've got to salute you for, first of all, being sharp enough to recognize that. And number two, as a 22-year-old, for rolling up your sleeves and saying, I'm going to make this decision to, I'm assuming you say you're an engineer, correct? Aerospace engineer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you got a full-time job. Now you want to take on a behemoth of a job, which is the school board. So I congratulate you. I just couldn't be prouder of the three of you for for what you're doing. And Morgan, I wanted to say something. I bought a house out in Katy in the 80s when I was a student at the University of Houston off of Franz Road and Mason Road. And I know about duck hunting and goose hunting. We used to sit out of our backyard fence and hunt geese.
Yeah, I think we cannot hear you, Morgan.
Morgan, you're muted.
Oh,
You got okay. We're good. Now we can
okay.
Very good.
So unfortunately, one of the downsides to the growth in Katy is that our duck hunting and our goose hunting has declined
Yeah.
in the recent years because we've had so much growth come out here that our duck hunting lands are now houses.
Oh yeah, believe me, I know about the conservation efforts out there, but sometimes it's, as they say, you can't stop progress, and it's happening.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask a question to the three of you. I'm a mother of twins. My kids are about to graduate; they're seniors, and they're gonna go to college. And I always enforce a lot of the education, the Latina. They call me that I'm very intense, emotional, and Valeria,
Oh, she is.
and I am. And how's growing and with a Latina mom, I always tell them, having a Latina mom, you're entitled of a compensation. Um, but I wanted you guys tell me your feedback and the point of view. Because I see in this country a lot of disconnection with the parents raising their kids. And I see that many of the things we cannot blame everything on the teacher, on the school system, or the education, which also I think the parents' fault. So what did you guys, when you guys win in May 6th, and I'm going to say it when they win in May 6th, going to address the issue to also educate the parents, because we not only need to educate our kids, but we need to also bring the parents not only to participate but to educate them and help them to navigate, especially with the Latino parents that they come to this country like me, and I didn't grow up in this country, I didn't went to school in this country, so I don't understand many things that is happening in the school system. So give us a feedback about what do you guys, or what is the plan that you guys think need to be addressed on that. Let's start with Amy.
Okay, so one thing that I've learned, my children are adults now, and they're our son graduated from Texas A&M in May of 2022 with a biochemistry degree, and then our daughter is a sophomore in nursing. She's studying nursing at Samford. And one thing that I did learn as a parent is that I need to work myself out of a job of being a parent. And so that means I needed to give them more. I needed to be willing to give my children more opportunities to solve their own problems instead of me always trying to be the fixer. And I wish I would have learned that sooner. And so one thing that I would like to do is share kind of some of my mistakes and some of my triumphs with other parents. I know we have 2 trustees on our board currently that are current members. They were willing to sit down with parents and listen to their concerns about the push of our district towards online testing for their kindergarten through 5th graders. And because those trustees sat with them, it got the attention of the board and administration, and they actually made a change that reflected some of the parents' concerns. So part of sitting down with parents and listening to them is saying, hey, let's go and try and find a medium that will meet what you're saying, but also we have to abide by state law. And a lot of the STAR test is given digitally, and so we need to make sure we're in compliance with what some of the expectations are that were given from TEA and from the state as well. And so if I just see myself as being willing to be that bridge and share some of my failures and my successes to help find a middle ground so that people are heard, but we're also in compliance with what is expected of us as a school district.
Morgan.
So I think that parents want to be engaged. I think that because of what we've seen with COVID and now with some ideological issues that have popped up in to the classrooms. I think it's caught the attention of parents to where they're saying, hey, wait, what's going on here? What? We didn't know that this was here. We weren't aware. And we're having to battle this on two fronts as parents. Like I said, I have 3 children now. And one of the ways that I'm seeing it crop up with my kids and then with my nieces and nephews is the overuse of technology, the over dependence on technology and phones. And I think that is one of the bigger issues that we're seeing inside the classroom is that, like Amy was talking about, the dependence on technology, even inside the classrooms, to where you have to take a test. Okay, well, can you access it through your phone and then take a test on your phone? Can you turn in your work on your phone? And it's like, we don't have the paper trail is no longer there. So a lot of what our students are doing is being done digitally, and it's taking out that pen to paper, that neurological connection that a student has to hand-eye coordination and making that point of contact of actually writing something down on a piece of paper. That's not there anymore. And so when a parent can kind of check out and say, oh, well, they're just going to do it on their phone, or they're just going to worry about it later, or they'll just take care of it in the classroom, we're not actually seeing anything coming home because everything is on the computer. It gives parents kind of this way of, oh, well, I guess I don't need to know. And so
Or they
really
don't know
having
how
a
to navigate the technology.
right. And so it's making it less accessible for a parent to be engaged. And so I know that this is one of the things that we would like to address and we would like to kind of push back on, and saying, hey, do we need to continue to have this push towards a over dependence on technology inside the classroom? And like Amy said, some of these things are not always our choice. Some of these things are handed down to us at a state level, but not everything. And engaging parents, one of the ideas that has been kind of floated around is really, let's push back on parents and saying, hey, I understand that you need to have a phone in school for contact, because unfortunately in the day and age in which we live, as we've seen with these school shootings, parents want to be able to connect with their children and know that they're safe. So for a child to have a phone at school, I think that you kind of need to do that to feel good about where your kid is and to know that you have the ability to access them at any time if something goes wrong. Having said that, what we're seeing with the overuse of it in the hallways and the classrooms, kids just completely checking out, and then they're able to just continue to use these phones with no repercussions. But if there was some kind of investment on the parent side of saying, hey, if a teacher removes a phone from your child, you are going to have to physically come up to the school and pick that phone up. And if this happens on more than like at a level of occasions that this is ridiculous, you're actually going to have to pay to get it back. Just incentivizing that, pushing back and saying, hey, we have rules, they need to be followed. You were in agreement with this when you enrolled your child in this school and you signed a contract in the very beginning of the year stating that you would abide by our rules. And hitting people in the pocketbooks with their time and their money is the best way to get somebody's attention, and engaging them. I'm not saying that that's what we're going to do. I'm saying that we should look at options on how to engage parents.
Okay, Valeria.
Yes, so honestly, parental involvement to me growing up was non existent because my parents moved from one of the most dangerous cities literally in the world at some point, which is Juarez in Chihuahua. So them coming to America, they automatically thought that it was perfect. It's so much better than Mexico, so we're good. I don't need to be involved because I know what they're being taught is much better than Mexico. And so that's what I saw growing up. But
Interesting.
not till being involved in Forward ISD, I realized how I want to say asleep the community, especially my community. Forward ISD is 67% Latino families, and so I did not see their appearance at board meetings, and I kind of wondered why. Until most recently in January, we were actually protesting a sex ed curriculum that wanted to remove male and female from the textbooks and was just showing gender fluidity and gender theory. And so I said the only way that we can get this to stop is by activating the Latino community and getting them to show up at a board meeting, and speaking and voicing their concerns. And so that's exactly what we did. We got 70 Latino parents to go to a board meeting, give public comments, some even in Spanish with a translator. And the superintendent and the board were just shocked. They were scared. They looked, it was the greatest thing ever because the Latino community was activated, and that was super impactful. And I said, if we can do this from now on, get the Latino community informed, make sure that they know what's going on in their child's education, we can turn around this district, because I saw that the board members, nothing scares them more than an angry Latina mom. And so it is a goal of mine to involve that community and make sure that there is no gap. It's true. My mom is pretty
I know,
scary
I know.
too,
My
not gonna
kid,
lie.
if my kids are
And
will,
so
will be here, it's like, yes, you're right. I'm scared of my mom.
Valeria, let me ask you a question. How did you
literally, yes.
what did you guys use to motivate the community to get them involved?
We did a lot of Facebook. So Latinos, they do spend a lot of time on Facebook. So we filmed videos, we did ads, we paid advertisements about this rally coming up. And also another thing that helped a lot was involving the church community, the Latino church community here in Fort Worth. We would go on Sundays, speak to the leaders of those churches and telling them what's happening in the educational system. And that was very successful and that showed in the turnout of the Latino parents at the board meeting. And so I think just presenting them the information simply. Even I get confused when I look at the agenda items that are more than 300 pages long. I think it is super important to make it a bit more simple to parents to access that, because no parent is going to come after 8 hours of work and read a 300-page agenda. And so I think it is just presenting them the information in a simpler manner. And I think that'll really turn around our district, getting those parents involved.
That's great. Okay, well, ladies, we're running out of time. Call to action. We're gonna start with Amy. Please tell us how we can help, or the community that it's listening to you and is around you and it's gonna vote on May 6th can help you, where they can find you, and tell us about the dates of early voting and the elections day.
Okay, so great. We are in the thick of block walking. We're committed to touching and speaking with as many voters as we possibly can before Election Day. Early voting starts April the 24th and goes through May the 2nd. And then Election Day is May the 6th, which is on a Saturday. My website is Thieme for the number 4, Katy, KISD.com, and all of my social media contacts are on my website. So feel free to email me through my website, and I will be happy to respond. We'd love to have you come out and help us.
And a graduate of Leadership Latino, latest and largest class here in Houston.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you, Amy, for participating in Leadership Latino. And the most important thing is go to vote. Morgan.
Yes. So, again, like Amy said, we have April 24th early voting coming up, and then May 6th is our election day. To reach me, you can go to Calhoun 4K, the number 4 KISD.com. We have our Facebook and our Instagram page, or my Instagram page. Same thing, Calhoun 4 KDISD or 4 KISD, as well as Facebook is the same way. So you can click on those links, and we're always posting anything on the social medias about kind of what we're doing and where our meet and greets are, or what we've got going on for the upcoming week. So it's the best way to get involved or to get in touch with us. We're always looking for volunteers to help us block walk or just to host something so that we can come out and talk to as many voters as possible leading up to Election Day.
And real quick, Morgan and Amy, I'm assuming you're running for positions. Does that mean that the election, these are at large, not districts?
They're
Yes.
at large.
Okay.
So everyone in our district votes for position 3, 4, and 5 that are on the ballot.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, great. Now, Valeria.
And by the way, Morgan, make sure you thank your husband for his service to our country. Tell him from
Absolutely.
a fellow veteran.
Okay.
Valeria.
Yes, so Fort Worth ISD is a single member district, so only if you lived within my district lines, you'll be able to vote for me. But either way, we need as many people to show up to vote on election day. This is the most important elections for our local communities, and just emphasize the importance of voting and using your right to elect our elected officials. And I believe school board is the most important position in our nation at this point, because we need to protect the next generation. So thank you.
Valeria, how's your Spanish?
Muy bien.
Muy bien, ok. Necesitamos hacer un
Yeah,
show con...
we may invite you back, Valeria, and have you speak in a little Spanish. We'll do some advertising into your district in Fort Worth. Those that don't speak English and have children in the school district there might be able to. And so we'll bring you back if you have the time
Yeah,
for about 10 or 15 minutes.
And I want to be
Awesome.
able to use those videos that she's talking about
yeah.
on Facebook and everything that they have done.
And the
in
other
the
thing we
district.
might do for Amy and Morgan, and I don't know how much time we have, because sometimes at Texas Latino Conservatives we feel like one-armed wallpaper hangers. We've just got it's such a big state, right? 254 counties. I don't know if you guys have ever driven from Beaumont to El Paso or up to the Panhandle, but it takes a heck of a long time. And we're trying to help as many people across the state as possible. But Katy is down the road, so we may do a little meet and greet with our candidates and our Leadership Latino graduates, and invite the community, and we'll have Andrea there as the official translator. Just anything to engage the community. So
Yeah.
Amy and Morgan, remind us, give us a call, and let us know. Valeria, I don't know, have we endorsed you yet?
Not yet, but I'm hoping you will soon.
Okay, well, I'm announcing today that TLC will be endorsing you, and so we will send you our logo, and we will be putting out some information in your district about our endorsement. Listen,
Awesome.
I know you guys are busy. You have jobs, you have families. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for, competing for this very high-paying job. Zero.
Yeah.
But they're doing it.
That's love,
they're-
and that's love, and that's the only way to change what is going on. Stepping in and trying to do something. Ladies, please share this show, this program in your Facebook page. Please send the link to everybody that you know via email, text, social media, everywhere, because we need to spread the word not only about your platforms, but everything that we've been saying today is very valuable, and we need to pass this to our community, our families, and they need to go and vote, because as you said, Valeria, this is one of the most important race in the local politics, because this is the day-to-day for our kids, for our community. And we always emphasize here at TLC that the most important race is our local politics at all levels in local politics. Because yes, everybody is very excited about the presidential elections, but I mean, as Orlando always say, what was the last time that you were able to talk to the president? So,
Or when was the last time Biden picked up your garbage?
yeah, thank you, exactly. Or came to your school.
Right.
So definitely, this is a very important election, and I know we have a very important elections in November, but the ones that are coming up is May 6th, and early voting starts April 24th. Well, thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
ladies.
ladies.
Keep
Good
in
luck.
touch,
Thank you.
like the video, share the video, and we look forward to see you guys in May 7 as winners.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank
Ciao,
you.
ciao.
So, speaking of November elections,
Speaking of, big announcement this week.
Speaking of, yes, major announcement. Wow.
It's a major announcement, so
For the November
I give you
election,
the
City
honor.
of Houston, I have decided to seek again the position of city controller. It's, many think it's not a glamorous position, but I can tell you it's a very important position. I've spent most of my life, political life, overseeing government operations. I was a member of the Houston City Council for 6 years, served with 2 mayors, have a lot of experience in, the capital improvement projects that we that we do in the city of Houston, the tensions between the pensions. We have municipal pension, we have the firefighters pension, we have the police pension, and then the money that we owe them by contract, but then it depletes the amount of money we have for the deferred maintenance of the city. We have Metro sort of run amok, building the Silver Line that no one rides ever. Those buses are empty, spent almost $200 million of public money just so they could say they had a project. And so the controller's position is an important position because not only does it certify the funds, and when city council decides to issue bonds, the city controller has to negotiate those issuances, and but the most important thing is the ability to audit departments and make sure that they're performing and spending money correctly, which is something the city hasn't really highlighted lately. So. And as you all know, I spent 12 years as Harris County Treasurer. I didn't play favorites. We had a majority of Republicans on the Commissioner's Court. I did call out Republicans for engaging in what was at the time a very speculative financial operation, which were credit swaps, which have been detrimental to the taxpayers. I've also, over the past, 7 years, been a member of the University of Houston Foundation Board of Trustees. I'm now the chairman. I was also the chairman of the investment committee overseeing the investments of hundreds of millions of dollars for students and for the different colleges at the University of Houston. And I've served on one of the country's largest hospital systems board here, HCA, Healthcare Corporation of America. So I feel that my public service, my volunteerism in the community as a president of a civic club. I started up Neighborhood Watch. I'm an Air Force veteran. I was a volunteer MT. I was a volunteer Little League coach and umpire. I've served in the public life. I've been in the private sector, but maybe it's time to get back in. And of course, I did it 4 years ago and came very close.
Yeah.
And so I think that we can put together, with your help, a winning coalition to make sure that the city of Houston is fiscally sound into the future. So just wanted to make that announcement so that you
and
guys
this is a very important position, Orlando, that many people don't know that they have to vote for it.
Correct.
It's not appointed by the mayor.
Right.
It's not appointed from nobody. It's just people need to go and vote for that position. And it's a very independent position, and you are pretty much oversee all the budget in the city of Houston, right?
Well, you certify that there's money in the bank when the city council approves expenditures. The mayor and the city council actually create the budget and approve it. So we have very little to do with the creation of the budget and how the money is spent, but we just make sure that once it is appropriated
and that's our money
and authorized, that it is done correctly. So city council, the mayor authorize the budget, then appropriate the funds. We make sure that they're there and that the checks don't bounce. Basically, it's just managing a huge checkbook. But the most important role, in my opinion, is auditing and reporting to the city council, and more importantly to the public, because you need to know what's going on. As Andrea said, it's your money.
Yeah, it's our money. Well, Orlando Sanchez for Houston City Controller. Congratulations, Orlando. So it's going to be a very interesting year, especially
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun, and it's going to
I
be.
can't wait to campaign with my friend Sheila Jackson Lee.
Oh, okay. And that elections is in November.
November
So
election.
our candidates today, they're running for the elections in May 6th, but Orlando's position is to vote on in November elections. So, Tough Tejano Awards was very successful.
Tough Tejano was extremely successful. We had a great time in Dallas, met a lot of great people. We're supporting a lot of candidates up in the Dallas area, and we're going to continue our push into Dallas County and Tarrant County. Again, I always say this, everything that we're doing is because of the generosity of Texans across the state that want to make sure that everybody participates in the political process, regardless of your ethnicity, your race, your sexual orientation. We just want you to be a conservative and to keep Texas, Texas. We are becoming the world's, listen to this, it's what the governor said yesterday. We will be the 9th largest economy in the world.
Wow.
Texas will be.
Wow.
It's absolutely
Not in the
amazing.
country, in the world.
And more people are moving from the Pacific Northwest, Washington area, Oregon area, and California. Unfortunately, into Texas. This morning I saw several New York plates. We welcome all of you. Just don't bring your politics to Texas.
Yeah.
And we want to keep Texas, Texas. We welcome you. We'll show you where to buy boots cheap and cowboy hats, but we want to make sure that Texas remains Texas well into the future. And so if you want to help Texas Latino Conservatives, go to our website, the same name, www.texaslatinoconservatives.com, and get involved. Or you can see that big red button on the right. Click that, donate. We don't care if it's $2 or if it's $20,000. Every dollar helps. We got to pay for expensive operations, and you've kept us on the air, active, and helping elect conservatives across the state. We will continue to do that. That's our pledge to you, but we need your help.
And if you like this video, this information, and all the candidates that we have, just like our video, share our content, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday. And if you're planning to run for office, please reach out to us. And
our next Leadership Latino class is in August.
In August.
Yeah, we'll have that up on the webpage.
Yes, just pay attention to our website. We're going to have every detail over there. Muchas gracias por habernos acompañado. Nos vemos el próximo miércoles. Chao, chao.